Welcome back to another website audit. If you're new here, my name's Jess. I am a web designer and business owner. I've been doing this for 13 years, and every Wednesday I have been auditing websites. Now, keep in mind, these people volunteered to get feedback on their website. I'm not just choosing at random. If you have questions while I'm going through everything, even if you're watching the replay, please comment and I will be happy to answer any questions or clarify anything. But without further ado, let's dive into this week's audit. This week, I am looking at the Fowler Medical Group website. They are based in Temple, Texas. And so overall, this website is pretty great. It's very well designed, very well laid out, but there are some things that I want to suggest tweaking for better use of space, better messaging, and those kinds of things. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this top navigation and banner. In the navigation, you can see the separators, the vertical lines are white, but the text is black. And I would recommend making that text white. Also, I think the gray in the logo could also be white. Now, I have a feeling it is this way because when I scroll, you can see the blue goes away in this, but this is much easier to read. So honestly, if you can't or don't want to make the other changes I just mentioned, then just keep that bar white instead of blue. Sometimes people like to do this because it adds a pop of color at the very top of the screen. That's fine, but this text I think would be easier to read and stand out more if it was white or you got rid of the blue. I do also want to point out they have their hours and location very visible at the top. This is a very smart thing to do if you have a physical location, whether you are a doctor, a physical therapist, a restaurant, whatever. If you have a physical location that people can come to, this information should ideally be at the top of your website so that it is super easy to read, or super easy to find, I should say. Also easy to read. But the next thing I want to talk about is we have the logo appearing twice here. We have it up in the navigation, but then we have it on this banner as well. And that's not the greatest use of space. This is often, for some reason, the default thing that people go to when they're setting up their website. They're like, I'm not really sure what to put here, so I'm going to put our name so that it's really front and center. They don't need that because it is in the navigation. If they came to you from Google search, they already saw your name in the Google search result or the Google business listing or whatever. It's in your domain most of the time. If it's a referral, like I send this website to my friend, I'm like, hey, this is the doctor I go to, here you go. I've probably already told them the name. And so even whether or not it's a referral, a direct click from Google, from social media, they already know it. So we don't need to have it twice within this space right here. So I would get rid of that and let's just have a large, nice, clear, engaging headline here instead. That way people stay interested and they're like, oh yes, tell me more. And the line that I would put on this banner is this line down here, an alternative to the insurance-based healthcare system. That sets you apart. That makes you very different from all of the other medical practices around you, or at least to my knowledge. I don't know if this is a very common thing in Temple, Texas. Here in Georgia, we have these. We also have these types of medical groups, but they are not the norm. And so having this type of differentiation would really set you apart. And when people come here, the right people will be like, okay, I'm interested. The wrong people will be like, nope, I want insurance. I have insurance. I want to use it. This is not what I'm looking for. So I want that up there because that makes it more clear, one, what sets you apart, but also like your medical practice. You would maybe typically take insurance in other settings, like your colleagues take insurance, because our goal is for you to live well is not super clear. I mean, yes, we all like know what it means, but it can mean different things to different people. And this could also, I'm like, are you a chiropractor? Are you functional medicine doctor? Are you just like normal medicine? Are you a family medicine doctor? Like, I don't know. That line doesn't tell me what you do. And so, or what kind of like, it doesn't differentiate you as much. And so, I think this is fine to have on the website somewhere, but I don't know that it needs to go here at the top. So moving on, experience direct access to your doctor, become a member today. I think there needs to be more text here before we're saying like become a member, because I'm like, a member of what? Like, what am I becoming a member of? And I know down here, you have this information about we're membership based, direct primary care practice. Move this information up here. Like, give them more context, because you're asking them not to just set up a free call, not to learn more. You are like already just going in for the ask of become a member. And if you're going to do that, we need the context. So that would be the other change. Then we have this kind of like, here's a deeper explanation. You could also move this up here as well. Like, that could also be an option. The blue on the black, I would change. You could maybe leave the button if it was filled in like this. I think that would be fine. But the blue on the black, I would say not great for accessibility reasons. It's not as high contrast. It's not going to be as easy to read for older generations, for people who have vision problems, who are colorblind. Like, it's going to probably cause problems. And so from an accessibility standpoint, I would make all of the text white. There are other ways you can add in blue to the website without having to do that. Then we have this stock photo. I don't know that this fits. I would rather see a picture of your office. I know you're trying to show happy family and, you know, potential patients kind of. I get why you chose it, but it's right next to you talking about like, we're membership based, direct primary care, telemedicine, da, da, da. And it doesn't really relate to that. So either a picture of your office or people in your office, like that would be ideal, not just a blank office lobby, but, you know, get some photos with patients or your staff or anything like that. I do like also that you're like, oh, also, you know, we have plans with small businesses, like that's cool. It does make me think or wonder, because then I see like, okay, you also do infusion therapy, sports medicine, bioidentical hormone optimization. So do you prioritize this, the small business offer, over these other things? That would be something to think about, because from the data that I have seen, people tend to click one of these first few buttons. And so I would just keep that in mind, that people might be going here before they get down here. I would also consider right now, your website is very just row, and it's really just alternating white, black, blue, white. So there's not a ton, like, yes, we have the visual interest of images and icons, but there's not a lot of visual interest when it comes to the rows themselves. So this isn't a make or break, like this isn't killing your conversions or, you know, making people leave or anything. But if it were more visually interesting, people might stay more engaged. And something you want to try and avoid in websites is this alternating color, black, white, because it starts to kind of feel repetitive and blend together and that kind of thing. So the reason I brought that up is because with these 3 offers of infusion therapy, sports medicine, hormones, I would actually turn this into 1 row with 3 columns across. This would kind of shorten the page and people could read all the information in one without having to scroll as much. But then we're also changing up the layout. So this is also important for visual interest. You want to kind of change up the layout. Not that it has to be wildly different in every single row on a page. But right now you can see it's really like just something on the left, text on the right. Here we have the image on the right, text on the left, but then it's just image, text, image, text, image, text, image, text. Then we have some boxes. So we're not really being visually interesting. And I think with more visual interest, this is going to elevate your brand and make you look more professional and more engaging. So that's something to think about. Also in the footer, change this text to white, not blue. And then let's hop over to the About page. Love that, simply put, it's you and your doctor. I think this is so clear. It's down to earth. I love this. Honestly, I kind of think this information could be, or this line could be on the homepage, because it sounds more just human. And then I'm just looking through, you have your staff here. So that's good because people, especially with doctors' offices, we want to see who we're working with, kind of learn about them, and that kind of thing. Love that you have this family picture. That's good. This bar with the buttons and then another little white bar, I would change that up. I would probably move these buttons up here. And then benefits of primary care, I would switch this and say something about what makes us different or why our primary care is different. Something like that, because I would also break up. This is a very large paragraph, so I would split it in 2. So it's 2 paragraphs, maybe even 3 small paragraphs, because I see this and I'm like, don't want to read it, keep scrolling. Whereas this is even more information, but it's broken up. And so I see Dr. Fowler. I see the bullets. I'm like, 19 years. It's much easier for me to read and skim through that. I'm going to go over to the services page. We're not going to go through every service page, but I just want to look at 1 or 2 to kind of see. So I think this is super clear. I think this down here is super clear. This doesn't tell me anything. Just it looks like a few adjectives. So I would again position this as the benefits of IV infusion therapy, or infusion therapy to get you back on track, or IV infusion therapy to whatever you feel like is the main takeaway, or what most of your patients are after, why they're pursuing the IV infusion therapy. Yes, I know that it's restorative. Soothing is kind of I have done infusion therapy and I'm I don't know if soothing is the right word, at least for me. Not that it was a bad experience, but I think this headline could be a little bit more clear. I'm going to go to sports medicine. So I like this. So this is more of a concrete thought, not just a few adjectives. So I like that. I like that you list out these items. Yeah, so that sounds good. One thing I would add, like you do have the membership page. Love that you're like, healthcare shouldn't be complicated. I think some of like a shortened, condensed little blurb about membership could be included on the services page. So you talk about it. This is what we include. Da, da, da. I think instead of just the like become a member today, add a little blurb down here to give more, like make it more enticing and intriguing to get them to click on that instead of just become a member today. Because I'm like, some people might be very confused why you're still talking about becoming a member, because they might be like, what is happening? Like, I just want to go to the doctor. So I think a little explanation about like IV infusions are included, or maybe they're not, or I don't know, in your membership, or like how that works, and having a small section on each of your services page right here that's like, these are included for members, or you like save more as a member, or whatever that kind of looks like. So we have monthly membership options, because my question is, like with the membership, so is monthly the only option? Like, can I get an IV infusion without a membership? Because I did see pricing on the infusion. So I'm like, wait, so am I paying for a membership and then also infusion? So like that kind of information would help it be more clear on the infusion page, but also here having some more information, because I don't see infusion. So even having like a infusions not included, because you say much more, but it doesn't say infusions. So I would have like a not included, and what else is not included? Infusions, is there other things that like, oh, you have access to this, but it's extra? Like that is kind of the information we also want to include to be upfront and transparent with our potential patients. And then small business plans. This is good. I'm assuming you kind of package it differently depending on the number. I would personally put a starting point number for what the investment would cost. Again, transparency. It might vary, maybe even if you say like, we have different packages based on if you have 10 employees, 20 employees, whatever, so that people kind of know what to expect. Or is it like you offer a discount to those people, or is it like they pay the monthly fee for their employees? Like, let them know what the options are, if there are different options, because a lot of people don't want to get on a call to learn more. And so I would also maybe even give them an option to email you, or to like download something, or fill out a form to request like a brochure, and you set up a PDF that outlines the options. If you want to do that, then you have their contact information. You can follow up with them. Obviously, this goes in, now I'm getting into how you run your business. So those are like bigger decisions to think about outside of just what's on the website. But how can you make it easy for people to get the information that they're looking for, to, those kinds of things. So contact page is pretty straightforward. I think this is good. No real changes. Contact pages are pretty simple. So I would keep that. The only other thing that I would consider adding to your website is an FAQ page. And maybe you don't have an entire page. Maybe you have a small FAQ section at the bottom of each page. That could be good. And I tell this to a lot of people, but a blog. Blogging would help with your SEO, would help with client education. Obviously, you have a very small like area that you work with. I'm assuming it's only people in Temple, Texas and surrounding areas. So it's not necessarily that you are trying to reach the entire world, but I think demonstrating your authority, your expertise, talking about some of the things that you talk about with clients. I mean, obviously not like today I talked to Amy and she had X, Y, and Z. Not necessarily that, but blogging or start a YouTube channel, whatever, talking about health and this kind of stuff, I think would really help people connect with you more. I feel like doctors typically are very far away, they're hard to reach, and you are also, you're talking about like get direct access to your doctor. And so I think learning more from you would be a great way to build that trust and get more people in the door. So overall, like I said, pretty great website. I think a few changes would make it more visually interesting, some accessibility fixes, and I think you would be in tip-top shape. So if anybody watching has questions about stuff I've talked about, and you're like, what did you mean? Or what about X, Y, and Z? Let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I will see y'all next week for another website audit.